All right, welcome to today's review of TEK 8.5C, which states that the student will interpret the arrangement of the periodic table, including groups and periods, to explain how properties are used to classify elements. Well, we also know that elements can be classified as either a metal, nonmetal, or a metalloid, and these two are easily located on the periodic table. Let's take a look. So when you get your STAR 8th grade periodic table, the easiest way to identify and locate your metals, nonmetals, and metalloids is to use your zigzag. I call it the stair step. So we are going to use the stair step. We're going to extend it up here a bit to make sure that we understand that to the left of the stair step are the metals. To the right of the stair step are the non-metals. And touching the stair step, where I'm going to extend this one a little bit further to the bottom so I have room to write, are the metalloids. Now, each of these different types of element also have different types of characteristics. We're going to start by looking at the metalloids. These are the elements that actually touch the stair step. There is one exception. As in science, there's always that one exception. And in this instance, the exception is going to be aluminum. And aluminum is a metal. So, and we all know that aluminum is a metal. We've seen it in the kitchen many of times. But we just want to make sure we understand that when using the stair step to identify metals, nonmetals, or metalloids, we need to remember that is a metal, aluminum. It's the exception. All right, so the other elements touching the stair step, all of them are now those metalloids. So basically, if you wanted to kind of shade them in, each one of their boxes is touching the dark stair step, and that's an easy way to identify them as a metalloid. All right, so metalloids, what are their characteristics? So metalloids, first off, they touch the stair step, right? They touch the stair step. Metalloids are very interesting. Not only do they lie between the nonmetals and the metals, but they also have characteristics of metals and nonmetals, which makes them highly interesting and suspect. That is where we find these elements are semiconductors, meaning they conduct electrical and heat energy only under certain circumstances. All right, so let's move forward. Let's talk about now our metals. If you look now to the left side of the periodic of the stair step, so to the left of the stair step where my metals are, the majority of elements now over here are metals. So we know the majority of elements are metals. There is one exception here on this side as well. On the metal side, there is a nonmetal, and our nonmetal here is hydrogen. So we need to make sure that we understand that that's the one exception. On the metal side, it is a nonmetal. But all of these other ones, all the way from aluminum and all the way from the yellow over, are all metals. What are some of the characteristics of metals? Well, most of them, actually all but one of them, are solid at room temperature. So solid at room temperature. They all are shiny, and you've seen metals, you know that. Just from looking at aluminum foil, which you have at home, you could look at it, it's very shiny. It's what we call it in science. So not only is my aluminum foil shiny, but so is any other metal that I pick up here. And this is just some copper. Metals are shiny. They have luster. Also, metals conduct electricity. So they conduct electricity. That's why they are used in homes, in wiring and things like that. They also conduct heat. If you've ever stuck your metal spoon into a hot cup of hot cocoa or a hot bowl of soup and your metal spoon warms up, it's because your metal spoon is conducting that heat energy. But we also refer to metals as being malleable. Malleable just means I can bend and flatten my metals. So if I'm looking at my piece of copper here, I can bend it very easily. It's easily bent. And obviously you can see it's been nicely flattened out, right? So just like my aluminum foil is nicely flattened out, it's a very thin sheet, and it's also easily bent in any direction. That's what we call malleable, malleability. And last but not least, since they are such great conductors of electrical energy, we use them in wiring. We call that the ability to pull a metal into a wire string, or metal string we call a wire. It's ductile. So these are ductile. That's what that means here. Ductile means you can be pulled into a wire, and all metals can be pulled into wires. Now, that concludes the majority of the elements, which are the metals, to the left of the stair step. Now let's look at some characteristics of nonmetals. First of all, you will locate your nonmetals to the right of the stair step. Nonmetals are mainly gases at room temperature. So most of these are gases here at room temperature. If they are a solid, which some of them come in solid form as well, they are very brittle. Brittle just means breakable. So they are breakable solids. So let me show you an example of that. This is a form of carbon called bituminous coal. So this is carbon right here, element C, carbon. And if you look at it, it is broken into all kinds of pieces. It is not shiny. Let me get a piece out for you just to show you. It is very dull. So we know that's another characteristic of our nonmetals. Not shiny, dull, looking, breaking apart. As I touch it, it's just breaking apart. It's a brittle or very breakable solid. That up there. That piece, there we go. All right, and so we just talked about the fact that they are brittle solids, and they are not shiny. They are dull. They are dull. There's nothing shiny about them. Also, all nonmetals are not conductors of electrical energy, nor are they conductors of heat energy. So they do not conduct. Sometimes you might refer to them as insulators. All right, so that concludes their locations, where you to locate metal, nonmetal, metalloid, and their characteristics. One last thing I would like to show you is a metalloid. So this is the metalloid silicone. If you look, silicone there it is, touching the stair step, right? And if I take it out, you can see that, remember, metalloids have characteristics of both metals and nonmetals. And if I look at this carefully, get the bag open, not only is it very brittle and breaks easily, but it's extremely shiny. So it already has characteristics of metal and nonmetal. First off, the characteristic of the metal is it's shiny, right? But the characteristic of the nonmetal is that it is very brittle, so it breaks very easily and just falls apart. So there you go, guys. That's a quick review of metals, nonmetals, and metalloids, where to locate them on the periodic table, and their characteristics. Good luck on your STAR exam and happy review.